think the early overtake from Lewis Hamilton was sensational.
Oh, yeah.
That's pure genius from him. What next, mate?
What's been happening between Simon Jordan and Steve Bruce?
Well, they used to be pals. I think they still are, but let's set the scene. This was Simon tearing into Ryan Fraser for refusing to play his final few games for Bournemouth.
The idea that he couldn't have helped Bournemouth, or Bournemouth couldn't have given him the comfort to either ensure him, if he injured himself, in helping the club that gave him a career for 7 years, to avoid any injuries for his next opportunity for himself. There's something about that kind of sentiment that probably wraps up some of the parts of the football industry that are quite unpalatable. Because whilst you do have to look after yourself, there is a degree of something called integrity and responsibility and respect, because you respected that club when you were getting what you wanted from it, and now you don't when it doesn't suit you.
Okay, so this was Steve Bruce, obviously Ryan Fraser's manager now at Newcastle, giving his response to talkSPORT today.
My mate Simon had a little pop on your radio station, didn't he, at Ryan? I think I'll have to ring Simon and tell him what really went on, because I don't think it was just Ryan's responsibility that didn't play, but Ryan is very meticulous in his approach. He's the way he is. He's as a pro, and we're delighted that he's here.
I think the thing is with this, right, it's easy to have a pop at Ryan Fraser because it looks like he's got no commitment whatsoever. The reality is, and it's through no fault of Bournemouth, and it's no fault of Ryan Fraser's, he was out of contract. That's the reality. So he didn't belong to Bournemouth, and he actually technically didn't owe them anything. All he was going to get from them was a few weeks' contracts, and they were asking them, pleading with him, will he play for us and try and help us out? When he played his last game for Bournemouth, they were in the relegation zone. So for people to think he's the saviour is a little bit naive, and maybe a lack of football knowledge. You've got a guy doing his job, right, knowing he's leaving, so he's held his hand up and he's said he can't give his all. He's not fully committed to it. Mentally, he's not right. So would it be better if he lied? Would it be better if he said to Eddie Howe, no, I'm up for it, when he really isn't? And if Eddie Howe can see through that and realise that he's not actually committed to the cause, would he even play him? So for me, it was just, there was a no-win situation. It doesn't look good, I admit that. But if you've got a player who's not committed, how can he give his all? How can he commit himself?
Well, I thought Eddie Howe did an interview not long after it happened. He said it was a joint decision. I didn't think he was in the right place to be available for selection, full stop anyway. So he said, he's not going to be here. I don't want him playing, because obviously he needs everyone 100% committed. And I get that as a manager. If he's the manager and he feels as though there was just something not quite there, which is understandable from the player, because he's thinking, well, if I get injured here, my dream of going to play somewhere else in a better contract might fall through.
By signing a short-term contract at Bournemouth, he's actually probably being more disrespectful to his future club, who almost certainly by then would have sealed the deal. But that's his commitment to his new club, and that should be applauded. So I'd ask this question: why would he be committed to a club where he's not under contract and where he has no future, and where, if you go back and look at it, it's all in the public domain, him and Eddie Howe had some difficulties in the recent past. So for me, it's absurd to think that Ryan Fraser is a bad guy for not playing for Bournemouth.